Hi, I'm Pattu from FreeFinCal. After the recent market rally, the Nifty 10-year SIP returns have zoomed up to 14% and is now at its highest value in the last 6 years. So let's take a look at how the SIP returns have evolved. Before we begin, I am very happy to announce that my book for kids, Chinchu Gets a Superpower, will be released on February 11th. It will be initially available as an ebook and then as a paperback, but the paperback edition will take a few more days, at least about 10 to 14 days after the release of the ebook. The ebook will be released in two variants, one for boys and one for girls, and this is suitable for kids between the ages of 10 to 15. Some children, some 8 plus children may also be able to understand and appreciate the what's being discussed. So this is basically to instill the basics of money management and good decision making in children, and look forward to this to releasing it in a few days. So getting back to this, so I have been talking about why SIP does not decrease risk, and how if you simply run an SIP, then it basically depends on luck and what is known as timing luck. Traders would call it as timing luck. For example, if you had started a SIP in February 2010 and let it run for 10 years to February 2020, the XIRR would be about 9.66%. This is before the market crashed. But if you had started an SIP in March 2010, just a month later, and looked at its return in March 2020, the returns would be 3.85%. That's a very, very low number because you're looking at it when the markets have crashed. Some people, especially mutual fund distributors, are very angry with me, saying don't look at returns when the markets are crashed and so on. The point I'm trying to make is you can do your SIP for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. When you are going to redeem the money, or when you are going to calculate the return on that day, if the markets are up, the returns will be up. If the markets are down, the returns will be down. So there's no averaging benefit of SIP because I have already shown that after a few months, an SIP returns will simply fluctuate just the same as a lump sum. You can see my previous videos on that. All right, so let's take a look at the Nifty 10-year rolling SIP returns, and every dot that you see here is a 10-year SIP XIRR return, and you can see how it crashed to about 3.8%, and then it has zoomed up to about 14% now, and this is the highest. So the last time it was 14% was 6 years ago. I don't remember the exact dates. It's almost 6 years ago. To the date it was there, so it has been some kind of somewhere around here, and then it's or maybe a little bit earlier, and then it's come back up. Again, you can see that the returns are falling down. Although it has recovered, it's still lower than what it was in the 2009-2010 period, and then it's been falling down since then. This is the 15-year data. Again, you can see the 15-year data, the downtrend is there. Even the 15-year data crashed to about 6.5-7% in March 2020, and that has recovered a bit to about 12.5% or something like that. This is Nifty 50. Nifty 500 total returns is the longest history. That is, if you take the total returns data, the longest available is Nifty 500, not even Sensex. And so you have a little more data here. And if you look at the 15-year returns, you can see even from 2009 onwards, it's been kind of falling down. The trend is downward, and therefore the message for equity investors from all this is that please expect less. Don't look at 15% returns and so on in future. That's not going to happen. And this is corresponding data for the S&P 500 total returns index. This is all in USD. Because INR is not relevant here because we're talking about risks and patterns. So this is the USD return, and you can see this is data only from about 2002-2003 onwards, and you can see this looks a little bit stable here, but you will see that it's not the case in the other graph. But then it crashed all the way down to zero in the 2008 crash, and has been moving up since then. in this scale, the corona blip, which is basically here, that corona blip looks like it's almost not even a blip. There have been similar blips here, here before. It looks like a very, very small crash. It's not even a crash compared to what happened here in this scale. But for our markets, it's a very big event. But for the US markets, you can see that the 2008 crash was a huge event. Compared to that, the corona event looks very, very small. Of course, this is only recent data. This is the data for the S&P 500 TRI 15-year returns all the way from 1900 onwards, and every dot is a 15-year return XIRR, and you can see here it's been moving up and down. It looks like there's some kind of cycle, but it's hard to find, hard to spot all that. If you assume that after the oil crisis of the late 1970s, early 1980s was kind of over, and the US became a kind of a well-established developed country in the 80s, 90s, and so on, and you can see here the market moved up and it stayed up for some time, the return stayed up, and then 98, 99 was the highest return, the 15-year returns that they saw, and after that, from 99 onwards, the market returns have been falling down in the US, and even this recent resurgence that you just saw in the previous graph, even that is well below the 99 peak. So even though you say that a lot of tech companies have contributed to great returns and so on, those returns are still relatively lower than what it was in the past. This was the peak of the, I would say, the US developed country peak returns was in the late 90s and so on. Since then it has not been seen. So the message for from all this to investors is that they should not be expecting too much returns going forward. 9% return from equity after tax, if they get is a very good number. I've already talked about this several times. And the portfolio return will be lower because I would suggest not having more than 50 to 60% equity initially in the portfolio return. Some people say I am young, I will have 80% equity and so on. It will not make much of a difference. You should have a plan to reduce this equity allocation well in advance, and from day one, stick to the asset allocation plan. Avoid portfolio clutter by adding new products. Don't waste time worrying about market levels. Some people time the market, but they will not worry about market levels. Those who time the market actually have a proper model to time the market. In fact, I also have such a model. If you go to the FreeFinCal menu, you will find it. But that's a different kind of strategy. I'm talking about people who say, oh, Sensex is at 40k, Sensex is at 50k, shall I invest now, shall I invest later? This kind of crowdsourcing opinions looking at market levels is a complete, utter waste of time. So going forward, although the market has recovered well, I don't think the returns will be very high. So please plan accordingly. Bye-bye.